that, Judy.
Philip is allow record, and Charlotte and Peter, I've allowed record for you. Would the pictures all like to record? Yeah, I think we got Paul and is it Akash or Akash?
It's Akash.
Akash, nice to see you. I think I've allowed all the pictures to record. If you want to record and I've not allowed you yet, please wave now. Okay, awesome. This is where it gets really interesting as people start, as we start to have really quite large numbers of people on the call. What you might see is that we go onto two screens. There'll be an arrow and you can go across the next screen. It should be the case that people who are running video always come up to the top. But some people are running video with just their camera covered, which is a slightly, so they end up near the top as well. But most people will have video who are near the top of the screen, which is nice. And it's lovely to see everybody. And this is a historical occasion. It's the first online RSA Ideas. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Thank you for bearing with the slight technical hitches, those of you who were. Fingers crossed everybody who was planning to be here is here. Charlotte, I hope you can keep an eye on email. Philip, can you keep half an eye on the Fellows Forum in case anyone posts to scream, I can't find the link?
Yes, I have.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you. So, as I say, welcome. It's lovely to see you here. Things to know. This call is being recorded. Please don't say anything you don't want to be shared with other people, including in small group conversations later. We've got an awesome team of 4 pitchers on the call who are introducing themselves briefly in the chat window at the moment. We've got things to know about Zoom. If you didn't hear me say earlier, if you want to see all the pictures and you're not currently seeing everybody, at the top right of your Zoom window, click Gallery View, and that will enable you to see everybody. By default, everybody is muted just because it's such a large call. People have got background noise, stuff going on, and if people aren't using headsets, there can be a lot of echo. So by default, people are muted. But just for the fun of it, shall we all unmute ourselves and just say hello? Is that okay? Everybody unmute yourself and say hello and say where you're from, all at once.
Hi everybody.
Hello from Ireland.
Hi.
From Manchester.
From Bradford on Avon. Well, that was clear.
From Northampton.
From Burnham in near Windsor.
I'm in Mallorca.
Oh,
Ooh.
shut up.
I'm not. I'm sorry. And I apologise for being English, for being in Mallorca.
Akash, I suspect you win the prize for the furthest distance from the UK.
I'm in Ottawa in Canada.
Sorry, can't hear you.
I'm in Ottawa in Canada.
Hooray!
Ottawa in Canada.
Excellent.
Oh,
Brilliant.
it's fantastic. Thank you very much for being here, everybody.
I don't know if you can hear me. I'm Karen.
Just hear you, Karen.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I'm on a coach on the way home. I haven't made it, so I might disappear at any point, but I'm doing my best to keep in the conversation.
Well, great. Thank you for being brave enough to join from a coach, and it'll be interesting whatever happens. So if you know there's noise behind you, please do mute your audio. If anything is happening in your space that shouldn't be on video, please just click stop video like that and you disappear from the call. So you found those buttons there at the bottom left. In a moment you'll experience breakout rooms, which are one of the most interesting features of Zoom, which enable us to have small group conversations. One thing to know is that everybody, so from where I'm sitting, it looks like Charlotte is sitting to one side of me and John is sitting on the other and Akash is sitting below me. But everybody else's screen will be different to that. It's got something to do with where you are in relation. Anyway, so everybody is seeing a slightly different screen, which is fine. But hopefully everybody can see everybody. So this is RSA Ideas. We've got 4 fantastic pictures. The first job we've got to do is to choose who's going to pitch when. Charlotte, you're the mastermind.
I have this delightful mug and in it the names of all 4 pictures, so I will choose at random. The first picture this evening will be Paul talking about the National Forest Gardening Scheme. The second will be Christoph talking about Airbase. The third will be Akash talking about ethical principles for animals in sport. And the final one will be Libby talking about finding the words.
Thank you. So Paul and Christoph, and then we'll have a bit of networking, a bit of mixing and matching, and then Akash and Libby, and then another little bit of networking. Okay with everybody? So the format for RSA Ideas is that the pitcher has a 3 minutes pitch, followed by 4 minutes for questions and feedback from anybody on the call. Now, we haven't tried this online before, so we'll do a little bit of experimenting, but typically what will need to happen is you'll need to wave if you want to be called on to speak during that questions and feedback thing. Of course, you can also use the chat window to give your details and offer your suggestions and ideas and connections, or we can have all the conversations afterwards in the forum as well. People who are just joining, if you want to see everybody, click Gallery View at the top right of your Zoom window. You are muted by default. This call is being recorded. So, pictures. If it's okay with you, what I'm going to do is use my phone to do a timer. When it comes to about 2.5 minutes, I'm going to wave it on the screen. So you've got your warning. Is that okay?
Fine, thank you.
Excellent. So, Paul, would you like to kick off? Are you ready to go? The historic first RSA Ideas online picture.
No
Paul.
pressure.
Ready, steady, go.
Okay, so first of all, apologies that my video is not working. I seem to have a similar problem with Skype, so it might be something to do with this laptop. But please bear with me and do shout if there's something that isn't clear. But my first confession is I'm not a keen gardener. However, 2 years ago, I went to Dartington and I spent a weekend doing a very intensive course with a chap called Martin Crawford, who runs the Agroforestry Research Trust. And he's, I guess, the pioneer of modern forest gardening in this country. And that weekend course was attended by people from across Europe. And I sensed something was going on. And I was also utterly inspired to become a gardener. And inspired particularly because these gardens are planted as systems. They're planted for their relationships with one another, such that ultimately they become self-sustaining, self-regulating, need very little watering, not a single slug pellet, and very little labour, and they're incredibly productive. What I'm pitching today is for a scheme to plant more of these gardens up and down the country. Now, of course, they are ancient wisdom revisited. These kinds of gardens have been planted in Africa and in Asia for centuries. But particularly poignant now are 2 or perhaps even 3 things. The first is that our public green space is under threat. Councils, as we know, are increasingly under pressure in terms of their budgets, even more now in terms of security. Public green space was the subject of an all-parliamentary inquiry in February, which suggested that 37 million people use parks regularly, and in deprived communities, these spaces are under great pressure. There's an opportunity here to do two things. One, to protect, to improve public green space for many communities, particularly deprived communities, but also to give people an opportunity to grow food sustainably in a way that perhaps they haven't been aware as possible before. And through that activity, but
Please hold.
particularly, can you still, sorry Judy, I didn't see that. Was that my warning?
You've got, yeah, 6 seconds.
Okay, so there's a huge opportunity, I think, both to reconfigure our relationship with nature collectively through planting these gardens up and down the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Don't think I'm quite there with the timing yet, but hopefully I will get slicker. I'm sorry it's a bit clunky for the time being. So we have 4 minutes for questions for Paul and any feedback for Paul. Who'd like to comment? Libby, I saw your hand first. Okay.
Yeah, look, first of all, I just want to reinforce how incredibly important I think food sovereignty is. You know, we don't know what's coming exactly, but certainly knowing how to grow food seems absolutely essential. So you certainly have my support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who else has comments? Nigel.
Yeah, I work with a food charity that provides food for people who are struggling. And there's no doubt that a scheme like this would be hugely valuable, both in providing food for people, but also providing a place for people to meet and get together. One of the biggest problems of people in poverty is they're isolated, and this would provide a great place for people to get together. So the idea of growing, self-growing facilities within deprived areas, to me, is just a brilliant idea.
Thank you very much.
Peter and then Sheila.
Just quickly unmute myself. That was fantastic. By sheer coincidence, I'm a filmmaker and I'm currently involved in putting together a documentary about an agroforestry system on a research farm here in Suffolk. And I've seen for myself the incredible results that these systems can deliver with zero input and yet phenomenal yields. And of course, it's always dismissed as being too good to be true, but it does seem to be working. So if there's anything I can do to help and support, let me know.
That's great, Peter. Thank you.
And Sheila. Oh, let me just unmute you. Sorry, we can hear you now.
Right. I live in the Isle of Man, and we have a lot of spare land which is normally used just for forestry, but there is also quite a strong move for helping poverty. One doesn't think of it, people being poor or food banks and so on, but we have that also. But I think the Wildlife Trust have some land where I would be very pleased to help get together something of this nature. If I could have details from you, I think you said it was from Dartington, and if I could have either personally or through RSA, I would really like to put forward a proposal that we do this in the Isle of Man. I'm going to give a donation because my husband's just recently died, and I would like, he would want to do this so much. My background is in farming, his was in medicine, but we both would want to support this in the Isle of Man.
Thank you so much, Sheila. And if it's all right with everyone, I'll follow up with an email with a little bit more detail on the film.
Thank you.
A short film.
Yes, it would be great if you could share the details of the project on the Fellows Forum after the call, so that people can outside the call can join in as well. And somebody is asking in the chat window, Paul, if you could put some contact details there.
Will do.
So that people can participate from there. Anyone else? One last comment, question? Libby.
I just wanted to reinforce, in addition to food sovereignty, there's a strong move for us to be reconnecting with nature for our well-being, and I'm seeing more and more happening in that space. So I'm interested, in the sort of more holistic aspects of the project, and you have my full support. I have permaculture training and connections back in Australia also, and many people in this space I'd be happy to connect you up with.
Thank you so much, Libby. Yes, we've got all the published authors on forest gardening in the country already have signed up to be members of the scheme. International links, great. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. We're off to a flying start. So time's up for Paul. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
I hope you've got some really good ideas, connections and supporters there. So I really hope this works as well as it sounds as if it's going to. So let's move on to our next fantastic pitch. Christoph in Mallorca. Are you ready to go? You're muted. Please unmute yourself.
Okay, yeah, unmuted and ready to go.
Off you go.
Okay, great. So I grew up in an area of moorland in Yorkshire, and when I left school, everybody left to go to London. And I found myself thinking, what on earth was going on there? By 2030, 92% of the UK will live in cities. And farming sustainability post-Brexit is in doubt. So we've got to ask ourselves, as Paul in a way just has, how can rural communities sustain themselves? One place to start is with their capabilities and their skills. And skills are a key focus of the new industrial strategy green paper, to which I'm sure the RSA will be a vital contributor. So meanwhile, there are 40 million tourist transactions every year in the UK, and Airbnb alone hosts 1 million stays a night. So all these people coming together, often in rural places which they're visiting from cities, are a missed opportunity if the skills that those people have are not being shared. So this proposition, Airbase, is for a platform for residential skills communities, enabling anyone with surplus space in a rural setting to register a profile and host residencies by people who can either teach people skills or people who can receive those skills. And the house that I'm currently renting with my family in Sussex is an example of that. I happen to rent from a social investor who wants to turn that space back into something continuing the tradition of the weaving cooperative that it was for 50 years. So we have, I think, a real opportunity to essentially create a lot of value for all of the key stakeholders to this platform. Rural economies and rural premises will gain new revenues, new assets. They will develop that. They will create new networks and generate new revenues. Skills professionals will create a new opportunity to transmit their skills and generate revenues in places that they want to be doing their work in. Travelers and tourists at any level on the income scale, whether paying themselves or supported by supported organizations, will have the benefit to spark or renew interests in skills which can propel them forward to a place in the economy that really suits them. And the skills themselves will be preserved. The Heritage Craft Skills Association, or some formulation of those words, estimates that 9 craft skills, just as a sample, will be elapsing and vanishing. Got it, thanks Judy, from our economy in the next 2 years. So Airbase is a way to get people together, to get them learning and to be preserving and propelling the skills traditions of our country and our economy. Thank you.
Yay! Thank you. You came in 3 seconds before the bell was going to go off, so that was great. Thank you.
God, it goes fast.
scary, isn't it?
Yeah. Shall I unmute now, Judy, or what should I do now?
Well, keep your microphone, well, because it's quite noisy where you are, maybe close your microphone, but let's hear people's comments and questions for Christoph. Who'd like to go first? Libby, you're commenting in the chat with, oh, Peter, do you want to go first? Off you go.
Just a very quick and general point to say, wonderful. We are in East Anglia, we are struggling in some of our more rural areas, and indeed some of our semi-urban areas surrounded by lots of rural, such as Lowestoft, where it's very difficult to get skills developed and in there, and people just talk about growth as being something that's done to an area, and this is much more about, in my view, this is much more about enabling areas to have some sovereignty over their own growth and determine for themselves what sort of growth they want. So I'm right behind it. Brilliant. Thanks, Christoph.
Thank you. Who else? Libby, you were saying in the chat window, but can I invite you to say it out loud?
Yes, so it sounds like it needs a digital platform, like so much in life. And I heard that you are in the Brighton, Sussex area nowadays. Is that right, Chris?
Yes, that's right. Although I'm having already built a digital platform for my my existing business, Open Cinema. I'm aware that the world, I quite agree, doesn't need any amount of more digital platforms. But Airbnb currently has a fund open. Airbnb is aware that it needs to make more impact, and has a fund open for £25,000 to £100,000 for projects which are enabling more impacts in communities. So I'd really, just for peace of mind and my families, I'd love to do this within the auspices of Airbnb rather than as a one more digital startup.
Great. That makes really good sense. Yeah. So I'm local to Brighton and Sussex, and if you want to get in touch, you've got my details there. Happy to get behind what you're doing if I can. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you.
And I think Libby's got some events coming up in Brighton that might perhaps need a speaker. You never know. Who else has got comments or questions for Chris?
Always available, just to say.
Charlotte? Unmute yourself.
I just want to say, and this applies to Paul's project as well, and it may well apply to the other two pictures, that on the 4th of September we have our next RSA Engage happening in the Great Room at RSA House in London, and the theme for that is projects which contribute or impact on community cohesion. So if you'd like another opportunity to reach a different group of people, do apply for that online, and I will put the link of how to apply in the chat just now.
Thank you. Anybody else got comments or questions? Now, if you joined the call in the last few minutes, you probably didn't hear me say at the beginning, if you want to see everybody, you need to click the gallery view button at the top right of your Zoom window. And if you want to comment or contribute to the discussion, just give me a wave. I'll try and keep an eye and spot people as we go through. You're muted by default. Everything is being recorded. Any last comments or questions for Chris? Jennifer.
Hi, so I work at, I've just set up with some colleagues an employability project for young people with autism and ASD. And I'm just wondering whether you think the courses would be kind of suitable for people who maybe have additional support needs.
Yes, I can answer emphatically in the affirmative. My organisation, Open Cinema, has been working with people with reduced skills or confidence or mental health for 8 years, and we are very familiar with working with support organisations in those sectors, and this is specifically designed initially for marginalised groups. So the target group for the first venue, the place where I'm currently living, so I'll have to be living somewhere else quite soon, is for refugees. That's the focus. And the idea of the platform is that communities choose, essentially, they add their own inputs, they add their own skills, so they welcome any skills practitioners to teach, but they then also can welcome people from supported communities who they wish to support for whatever reason. So absolutely, it would be possible to work with, particularly with obviously support organisations and support workers, to welcome people from the communities you describe.
Right. Thank you very much. Your time is up for Chris's project. So let's move on to the next bit of the evening, which is, and this is where it gets really interesting. I'm going to split you up into groups of about 3. Like magic, what's going to happen is I'm going to hit a button and something's going to come up on your screen inviting you to join a breakout room. I invite you to go there, and just as you would if we were in a meeting room together, you've got 5 minutes to introduce yourselves to each other, to listen to each other, to find something in common, and to have an interesting conversation. In about 5 minutes, I will press the button to call you back here, and a timer will count down, I think it's 60 seconds, and then you will be magically brought back into this room. It usually happens very, very straightforwardly, and it isn't complicated, but in the unlikely event that you find you are on your own in a room after 20 seconds or so, come back here. Or if you find you can't join the group, just stay here and we'll have a conversation in this room. Is that okay with everybody? Okay, I'm just checking who's been paired up with who. So this ought to work. So I'm going to stay in this space, and anybody who can't join a breakout room or finds they're on their own can be here. You have 5 minutes starting from now.
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, good, good.
John, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. My
Ah,
video's not coming up there.
That's all right.
Well, 2 good pitches, weren't they?
Yes, very interesting.
I mean, I'm fascinated by the creating a horticultural area. I was wondering what sort of sizes would be envisaged for that.
It's a good question.
Whether you need half a field or...
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it. I've heard of permaculture, and that used to be about an acre, wasn't it? Permaculture.
An acre, right. I'll ask.
Yeah. I think the question that I had in mind as well was I live in Scotland, is whether there was a limit to how far north it would work.
Right, yes. Yes. I'm in Ireland. Anything grows here.
Whether you can adapt it to particular climates or not.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yes, I might have a tropical version.
This is my first event, and I was just wondering whether there's an interesting slant towards rural things, whether that's the nature of an online forum, is those of us who live a long way away from London can get involved.
I live in the middle of nowhere, in the centre of Ireland, and I just don't have contact with other fellows. I'm admin on the Fellowship Forum, so I hope people are involved in the forum, because the forum announces these kind of events, and we'll all be reporting back to the forum as well.
All right.
Excellent.
Yeah, I've only been a fellow for about a month, and but I have joined the forum though.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'll be a
understand
fellow
it.
for a bit longer.
Yeah.
Sorry, John.
You go first, Jennifer. Go on.
No, I'd finished, so I didn't mean to talk over you.
I just understand the forum was like 2 or 3 other attempts at it before.
Yes. Yes, there was a Nesta initiative.
All right.
That I don't know if it's going on or not. I don't think so. I think it finished a couple of years ago. So we have we have high hopes. So far, it's going well. We've got 600 members. So
Yeah, I'm just diving in and trying to read as much as possible.
yes.
I'm sure I'll be enthused to actually say something at some stage.
Well, there's always the like button.
Yes, that's true.
So whereabouts are you, John?
Derbyshire.
Derbyshire. Okay.
Oh, no.
So it's Ireland, Scotland and Derbyshire, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
I'm working off Wi-Fi here. I wonder if that's why I haven't got any video. I don't know.
Ah.
Possibly. Although I have to say I live in an area with very, very poor internet, so it's if I've got video, it can't be to do with the strength of signal.
Right. Well, at least I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, you look fine to me, Jennifer.
Thanks. Oh.
Oh, an alarm.
Does that mean we have to do something? Ah, there we go. We've got 60 seconds.
Right. Yes, well, I'll ask. I hope we'll get some links from those various sites, so we can go at our leisure and explore more.
No, definitely. I feel like it wasn't quite enough to really get a grasp of the project.
Yeah. Yeah. Could do with more. Read.
It's just an aperitif.
Yes, yes, an aperitif indeed.
Right, I'm going to return to main session, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, are you managing to get back? Hey. I love it when a plan comes together.
Judy worked
You
brilliantly.
look like you're having fun, Judy.
It reminds me of a teleporter in some kind of space age thing. You know, you've all gone off somewhere and then I press a button and you all come back. Peter, I can't hear you. Unmute yourself.
I know you. It's just power, isn't it? That's all it is.
Complete control.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a brilliant session. Lovely. Sorry, I'll unmute myself and go back to sleep.
Excellent. So it's been absolutely awesome so far, but let's get into the second half of this thing because we've got another 2 brilliant pictures. So we'll do 2 more pictures, same routine again, and then another brief piece of networking before we finish. So who's our next picture? It's Akash in Canada. Would you like to unmute yourself and let's get cracking. You have 3 minutes starting from now.
Thank you. So my pitch is for a series of consultations to create a citizen and community-driven creation of a public regulatory system for animals in sport and to a lesser extent perhaps animals in entertainment. And it falls, I believe, under the RSA's community's objectives. Although I currently work in diplomacy, I was previously head of Canada's National Equestrian Team and Federation and have maintained an interest specifically in horses in sport ever since. I'm conscious of the fact that equestrian sports have a different social meaning in different countries, different in smaller, more densely populated countries of the old world versus the larger countries of the New World, where I'm located, where land is more abundant. But certainly it reflects, in my part of the world, of the dynamic that dominates is one of the urban-rural divide. And I was interested to hear that was touched upon in the previous pictures as well. Recently, in the past few years, there have been a series of public scandals in international equestrian sport over catastrophic injuries to animals, abusive training techniques, and the use of performance-enhancing drugs. And this has fostered a furious debate over what should be the principles that govern this sport, and indeed whether animals should be used in sport and entertainment. Now, my idea is to, instead of using a top-down approach in which governments step forward to create this regulatory framework, it should be possible to engage communities, both urban and rural, in trying to identify what principles should govern the sport itself. I recognize that these are profoundly difficult issues over which equally well-intentioned people often disagree. The project I'm undertaking is to create a series of public consultations across Canada, engaging both proponents and critics of animals in sport to try to identify what should be the underlying principles for the public regulatory systems. What I would like, hopefully, to get out of working with the RSA or drawing upon the RSA form is, as I was saying to Alison and Jonathan in our breakout session, I'm struck by the fact that historically the RSA had both Adam Smith and Karl Marx as members, so clearly it's no stranger to bringing together people who have diametrically opposed views. To the extent that there are fellows who are familiar with public consultation exercises that bring together people who are profoundly suspicious of one another, it would be valuable to hear from them about their experiences. Because Canada is a vast, geographically dispersed country, if there are people who have been involved in virtual engagement with communities to try to foster a consensus, that would also be helpful. Ultimately, the idea behind this project is that an effective and meaningful system of public regulation has to be one that is born through, has been created through the public itself, and therefore has the confidence of the public itself. Thank you. Judy, you're still muted.
Sorry.
Okay.
I've not got the hang of this yet. So, 4 minutes for comments, questions for Akash. Sheila. Please unmute yourself. Sheila, please unmute yourself. Oh, I can unmute you.
I can see.
Okay.
Is that
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's one of the things you might want to think about, is to bring with you the specialists in the field. And the Royal Agricultural College in Cirencester in England, I have a granddaughter who's just about to graduate, who studied equine management, but they're really preeminent in this field, and I think you would find them very, very helpful and very interested. And if you like, I could give you the details, but it's now a university, sorry. It's the Royal Agricultural University in Cirencester in England. And they really are preeminent in equine management. So you would find some very interesting people there to talk to who are totally professional.
Thank you. Yes, please do send that to me.
Okay.
I seem to be talking. So yes, I have 3 contacts for you. One is indirect and is in the royal household. They're very into horses, I believe. The other one is one of my coaching clients who is looking at the interface between dressage and natural medicine. So I'm interested to sort of see where the holistic world meets with the more kind of animal rights world. If you want to get in touch, I'm happy to give you those 2 contacts. Also, a young mentee of mine is coming up in the elite equestrian world in the management of equestrian events. So if you want to get in touch, Akash, I'm more than happy to connect you up with those people.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Great stuff. Thank you. Who else? Peter.
Sorry, Fredo, me again. Akash, it's interesting. We've recently been looking at a project here in the east of England about how we get people from either side of the Brexit debate to actually start talking to one another and working collaboratively towards a common goal again. Do you have any mechanisms in mind whereby you bring these people together in the first place? Because I suspect there'll be a great deal of suspicion on both sides.
No, I'm sure there will be. I don't think there'll be any lack of enthusiasm, though. I suspect it will be easy to bring people together, if only because everyone will have an axe to grind. The challenge will be to persuade them to hear one another's perspectives. And from that perspective, I mean, any advice anyone can offer would be, I'd be grateful to receive it. I suspect that to the extent that we could start off with the discussion with principles or points on which everyone agrees, that would be valuable. But this is, needless to say, animal welfare is an area where there is not an enormous amount of overlap between people on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Thank you. Such an interesting discussion. I think I feel like chipping in as well, but I won't because we've run out of time for your turn. So thank you very much, Akash. Let's continue the conversation on the Fellows Forum. I must remember to post the link. If you're not already a member of the Fellows Forum, please do join, because that's where we'll share the link to the recording of this, where we can continue the conversation. To join, just go to fellowsforum.thersa.org and register, and everything will become clear. Philip, who's on the call this evening, is the person who approves people's memberships. So,
Judy, a quick question.
Go ahead.
Will you set up a separate topic thread for this discussion so that we can find ourselves and find each other?
There is a separate link. I've just popped it in the chat window. It's in the events section on the forum. But if you're signed into the forum and you follow the link that I've just put into the chat window, that will take you directly to the thread, where a couple of the guys have already posted links to their projects and given it an outline. Thank you. Good question. So, next person then. Who have we got? We've got Libby. Libby, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Hi, everybody. Okay, so a few years ago, I was at my mother's funeral and I heard eulogies, and I thought, why do we wait until somebody has died to tell them what their life has meant to us? It just didn't seem right. So I have invented a gift experience based on the world of participatory art called Message Eggs, which helps groups of people come together and celebrate someone's life at a key moment in their life, from a baby being born to a wedding to a 50th birthday. We've now built the system. It's an online system that facilitates people to say what they want to say and to say things that go well beyond what they write in greeting cards or on Facebook. I've facilitated creative writing workshops before, and we've basically found a way to draw people out to say things that reduce social isolation. They build people's self-esteem. They build their relationships. I'm passionate about this project. My husband and I have worked on it with a number of people throughout various sectors. But I'm running out of steam, and my coaching practice has really taken off, coaching and facilitation. So where we're at now is that we've got the opportunity to take it as a pilot project out to the world of life-threatening illness. So that's the time of life when perhaps people most need to hear that their lives were of value, and to start to create a narrative for themselves and their lives and what it meant. We've approached the Arts Council regarding that, but their funds are very limited. I've drawn up a project plan I can share with anybody about how we'll do that. We have partners in the cancer journey world, the hospice world. It's ready to go, but we just need £15,000 to get it off the ground. I have a team ready to go. And I'm also looking for more people to come and join me to take this wonderful enterprise forward. It's a social enterprise. I'm not in it for the money, but it has vast potential. As the gift experience world is opening up, people have a lot of stuff and they don't want stuff so much, they want meaning. We're moving up Maslow's hierarchy. So that's as much as I want to say for now. It's really a case, I can share the screen and you can see, you know, the website for yourselves. No, I can't. Okay. So anyhow, the links are there. There's a video that explains it and a website with case studies. One example I can give you is of a man who was, for his 80th birthday, his son commissioned them for him, and they told each other for the first time that they loved each other. And you know, these moments of human connection, I don't think can be underestimated in their potential to heal and help build social fabric. I'm going to leave it there, and if you're probably wondering how it works, well, it's the wonders of the internet basically, and it's both physical and digital. It results in a box of eggs with the messages inside eggs, and you crack the egg to get the message. So it's not just another digital thing, it's quite magical. There's ritual and symbolism, and there's case studies that explain it online. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So 4 minutes of comments. Jenny Inglis, you're on. Oops.
Thanks. So I'm just a person that might be interested in working with you. So a really talented, interesting guy called Felix, who's just graduated from the Good Ideas Academy, which is an initiative run by the Melting Pot in Edinburgh, and he's come up with a very kind of similar idea. I think he would be a great supporter. So I would like to connect you to him if that's possible. Sounds like a great. It sounds like a great thing for crowdfunding if you were willing to get it off the ground.
Yes. Thank you, Jenny. Yeah. Just to say, we've tested it with over 2,000 people now, so it's very robust. And my husband, it comes from digital web development, so there's quite a complex system behind it that enables it to be both secure, confidential, and robust.
Thank you.
Sam.
Libby, I love this idea, and I've just spent the last 3 weeks interviewing people at end of life, whether they're patients or care workers, talking about what matters to them. And I've been finding capturing people's story and celebrating it can be as powerful as the change aspects in healthcare. So I would love to connect with you to talk about what we might be able to do together.
Thank you so much, Sam. I'm also a trustee of the Robin Hood Health Foundation, and we're looking at narrative medicine. So what we're seeing more and more really is it's our story about ourselves in the world. And I know this from the coaching too. So anything around narrative. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sam.
It's Paul here, Libby. Hi, I just wanted to say that it's a very, very beautiful idea. And I'm moved by your personal story. I'm sure there's a lot there that you haven't shared with us, but it sounds like a really moving experience. I know that there's a unit at the University of Glamorgan that's done some pioneering work with digital storytelling, and particularly in healthcare. So Sam, you may know all about them. But they're basically lots of still images which the storyteller themselves choose, which are then edited by the storyteller, and you know there's help given with the script, but the ultimate impact of it is incredibly powerful just in a few minutes, and it can, you know, it's a digital way of doing what your egg does physically.
Yes, thank you, Paul. I've experimented with a range of approaches around this and run workshops. And yeah, there are so many different directions that this kind of work can go in. I think what we've tried to do is to build something that can scale, so that the sort of the price per interaction is feasible. Yeah, obviously one-to-one work is really important as well, but what we've got here is something that scales quite exponentially.
Great stuff. One more person? One more comment or question?
Nicola's waving, and Jennifer.
Nicola and Sally and Jennifer. Let's see if we can squeeze everybody in. Sally, I saw your hand first, then Nikki, then Jennifer. So Sally first.
I'm just wondering why you said you were having a problem with an Arts Council grant.
Yeah, good question.
Because I've done quite a lot of successful ones, And if you'd like to chat about that, I might be able to help.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's just a question of time, Sally, and I've been on this, for a while now, and I've been called in other directions, so I need to resubmit to the Arts Council, and thank you for your input. Yeah, it's just...
I could take a look at that, and I've had a few, so.
Thank you so much, Sally. Thank you.
Okay.
Nikki, you were sharing a link in the chat.
That's all I wanted to say. This was a talk on TED about American end-of-life care, and the BJ Miller TED talk is really amazing if you haven't already seen it, and it's all regarding this subject. So there's a lot of, he runs an institute over on the West Coast, so that might be worth looking at.
Thank you, Nicola. I will have a look at that.
Oh, yeah, you'll like that, Libby. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jennifer Challoner, you were waving too?
Yes. This might be a little bit far from you down in Brighton, but there is a project going on up here in Dumfries and Galloway that's run by the University of Glasgow to do with death cafes and end of life, and having open conversations about that for everyone involved. So there might be some interesting links there.
Thank you. Yes, Death Cafes are great. They're a global, social franchise, and I've been to a few. They're wonderful. It's just great that we're opening up more and more spaces for people to talk about what's inevitable. I think the thing I need most really is people to come in on the team and money, because it's been a few years now, and my family are wearing a little bit thin, but we'll see how we go. There's Chris.
Hi, Libby. Brilliant idea and very passionately presented, I thought. I just wondered if you'd looked at going through a tech accelerator. These are basically places where you get support through and space and support to build your team and seed investment to essentially build out or expand your existing prototype and take it to market and test things out. You may have looked at that route.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I'll look at that. I have been through one incubator already, and I haven't been through an accelerator yet, but it's startup culture. It sort of wears you out eventually, and we don't have access to funds here like they do in Silicon Valley, where they've done a thing called Awesome Box, which I can assure you is not awesome. It's appalling.
Okay, so we're timed up on Libby's project. Thank you very much indeed, Libby, and all the contributors to that.
Thank you all so much.
Before we finish, is everybody up for one more quick teleport? Just to meet one more person in a very small group. I'm going to hit the button. This time, again, you're just going to have 5 minutes. I know it's very, very short time, but it's at least a chance to make a real connection with a couple of human beings. So I'm going to hit the button. You've got 5 minutes, and I'll call you back.
Hello.
Hi.
Philip, I think you might
Philip again.
Mute.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
There we go. That's all right. That's all right. Do I take it that you were in the same breakout room last time then?
Yes.
But never mind.
This is the trouble with random.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed both those speakers. There's a lot going on.
Absolutely. I think given sort of a lot of that's been happening in UK politics lately, and Grenfell Tower, etc., it's no surprise that there's a lot of community projects coming to the fore. And that's one of the reasons that we're running this event in September around that theme, because we know there's a lot of activity and energy around those kind of projects. But I think even in just this small sample, you can see the wealth of knowledge and expertise in that area as well. So I hope people have made some good connections. What are your backgrounds? What are your interests, both of you?
Well, I blog, and one of my projects I'm trying to get going is oldercitizens.com. Trying to get older citizens to blog about their experiences before they die. and it's all lost and gone forever. So that's what I'm working on. I've been desperately trying to get help from the forum. Nobody has said, yes, yeah, train me as a blogger. I'll go out and train other people. I would go forth. But I've run out, no disciples yet.
Where are you based, Philip?
Ireland.
Ah, okay. Are you in touch with, I think it's Rachel Barker, who's the area manager there?
No.
Local area manager. I'd be really happy to put you in touch with her. She might have an idea of some people who are, I mean, of course it needn't be locally, but you know, she might have an idea of getting some people together and kickstarting something that way.
Yes.
Might be useful.
Yes. Shall I put my email address in the chat?
Do. In fact, if you click chat now, it will just be a chat between the three of us. So if you
Right.
do that, I can capture it and email you afterwards.
Right. Email pj@irishsecure.com.
Thank you. And Jennifer, what about you? What kind of space do you work in?
Yeah, I come very much from the community development charity sector. To me, there's no surprise that there's lots of community projects coming around, because I think need is increasing in many communities for connection and for solutions to poverty and unemployment. That those issues seem to be becoming increasingly entrenched at the moment, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
where are you? Sorry. I work for the RSA. So I am the London area manager. And I've been working with Judy on getting some online formats for our events in order. And actually, I'm really, really pleased to see that we've got people from, you know, all over the place contributing to this, because I think one thing that we're okay at in the local area teams is connecting people locally. But what we could do more of is connecting people globally, and I think this, for example, is a really nice way of doing that, and it seems to be going all right. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, we had a conversation in the last breakout about, because I live in southern Scotland, and the local events are in Edinburgh, which is not that easy for me to get to in terms of kind of locality. So this is a great way for me to be able to be involved. And yeah, if there could be some way to involve in the meeting in September, that would be great.
We're looking at that kind of thing, yeah. So how we can do that, whether that's live streaming or whether that's disseminating the information afterwards so that it's available for everybody. But yeah, we're very much looking into that kind of thing. And I will feed that back to Jamie, who's head of RSA Scotland as well. Yeah.
Right.
That sounds good.
If you do have any thoughts or suggestions about how we can make this online format better, we're always really pleased to hear them. So do get in touch with me or Judy afterwards. It's really valuable.
I'm really impressed with this system, actually. I use lots of video conferencing, and this is good, apart from the headphones, which are a little bit...
And once again, we all survived the journey. So with 1 minute left to go, what do we need to do to finish off? I'd love to hear from a couple of people how this has been for you. Sally, unmute yourself, do talk.
It was, I'm a new member. It's my first meeting, and I think it was excellent.
Thank you. What was excellent about it? What have you liked?
Well, I've liked the whole format, being digital, and I've liked the breakout rooms, and I've made a couple connections already, right, Sam? Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other comments like that or anything different? Who's got anything to say? Libby.
So I was asked to join in 2009 as a fellow, and I got very disillusioned, and now I'm getting very excited about where things are going. I think you've been doing a great job, Judy. These are not easy things to pull off, and my only comment would be that it was a bit strange in the breakout room, there not being able to see each other, and I don't even recall, you know, who I was speaking to because it's all just been going so fast today. So please come and, you know, send me a line. But thank you. Brilliant. Amazing. So much going on. I love it.
Thank you. Peter.
Just one small technical point. Christoph, where are you sitting? Oh, you need to unmute. That's it.
Yes, I'm sitting in Soyer in New York.
So you're outside my favourite cafe, Esraco.
It's technically called the Albatross, but maybe it's next door.
No, just on the right, just behind you there, Esraco. Brilliant.
Excellent. Only the RSA.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you.
Nice one, Peter. Great. And Peter, just be glad to catch up with you on film-related matters. And
brilliant. Brilliant. Let's do it.
Great. All the best.
Great stuff.
Fabulous.
Thanks, everyone.
Charlotte.
I just want to say thank you to Judy for hosting, and thank you everyone for taking part from an RSA point of view. I'll be sending out before the end of this week a little summary with details for the people that pitched this evening to all of you, and that link to the Fellows Forum again, so you can continue those conversations and continue to make connections.
And do, of course, make sure you join the Fellows Forum to make some of those connections. Charlotte, in that round robin, could you ask people for comments on the
Absolutely, yeah.
format?
We'll be sending a feedback survey, which would be very grateful if you could spend a bit of time filling in. I promise it will be short, but as this is our first online event, we really will value your feedback.
And any comments anyone would like to send me by email before Thursday morning would be especially welcome, because on Thursday there's a Fellowship Council meeting at which I'll be saying what a success this was, and having some people to quote would be brilliant. So email I think it's networks@thersa.org would be Charlotte Nicky's email. I'm sure they'll be able to pass comments on. And when all of that was really rapid fire. Next time, let's give ourselves a bit more time. I think people tend to be a little bit nervous first time that an hour is going to be too long, but in the end, it's always not time enough. Thanks, Judy. Thanks, everyone. See you all next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you all.
Thank you.